It wasn't what. Well,
not doing
why
anything?
we didn't have. Well, I didn't have workouts because I've just been lazy and I don't like doing it. And I've just been busy with a new job and everything. But you didn't have workouts because of the health reasons, and now you're building up again. So for you, it was not fun because you love working out. Oh
Yeah.
my god.
It's,
Um,
it's the routine that I enjoy. Like the routine of like it's not like a normal routine. It's a routine of me feeling like physically, you know, getting better, getting faster, getting stronger. So whenever like that goes something goes in a way, yeah, and I just feel like I'm not achieving anything, and
Okay.
it's sort of yeah, and that's why it wasn't fun. And obviously, like you know, I was told not to do anything,
Yeah.
and
I don't.
yeah,
I don't know. For me, I will. You know, I don't like working out. It's just something I really, physically, not actually physically, more like emotionally, have to push myself or motivate myself to do. Um, and I'm doing it just I guess for health reasons, but also you know to
yeah,
be to look the way I want to look, and that's it. And I know that a lot of people kind of say, how people are like, oh, I never used to work out, and I used to hate it, and now I fucking love it. It's amazing. I can't do without it. I don't think I'm ever going to be that person. I think I'm always just gonna do it because I know what it does for me. It gets me where I want to be, and that's why I'm doing it. I'm not doing it because I immensely enjoy doing all of that.
I mean, I also feel like maybe you haven't found the right medium of exercise. I feel
In my sleep would be the right
no, like
medium for
like
me.
like for example, some people might not enjoy going for a run or going to the gym, but they might enjoy I don't know like playing a sport in a team or anything they used to do when you were younger. Like there's more
Oh
fun attached to it rather than feeling like you're doing it just so you can look a certain way.
yeah. Yeah, no,
I
that's
feel
true.
like that becomes more enjoyable, and then
I enjoy well. I enjoy hiking a lot.
yeah,
Um, and trekking, all that stuff. Kind of hard to do in London though. So it would be better if you could get out of the city, but
or
living in London we don't really drive or have a car because we don't need it here.
also like you like dancing as well.
Yeah.
I
I
mean,
used to dance for like 12 years. It was a very, very big part of my life. It did not seem like workout, but
it
yeah.
was. Yeah. I mean, I think for me, like the biggest reason why this 2 weeks has been hard because you go from like you do a marathon, and then just like nothing,
Yeah.
and then it's just like I'm still on that high, and then yeah, and I went for a run today, and I felt like I was literally building my base again, and
It's only been like a week though.
it sucked feeling like you just can't hear something from the bottom again.
But see, that's what I don't like is the fact that you've just run a marathon and you run constantly all the time, and there was just 1 week. It's 7 days, people, and you feel like you've already lost your what would you call it?
Like what I guess
Endurance or
my fitness.
your fitness. You've already lost your fitness. Like, how does that happen with just 7 days? That is too much pressure.
In all fairness, it's not that I lost my fitness. I don't think I lost my fitness. It's I lost my ability to like. It's like if you're constantly in pain.
Okay. Okay.
This is a bad. Okay, it's a bad analogy.
If
But
you're constantly in pain.
I'm gonna go ahead with it. I'm gonna push through. If you're constantly in pain, right, or struggling, whatever, but it's pain, and then you go like a week of not being in pain, which it's a good thing, but in this way, pain is good, and then you go back to do the thing that makes you uncomfortable.
And then you're like,
It
oh.
feels a lot worse than before
But
because
see-
your tolerance, mentally, your tolerance just goes down.
You put it that way, and I understand. And that is how working out for me is. And the fact that I haven't worked out for a week, I'm like, oh my god, I had the best week, and now I have to do it all again. But you love working out. How is How is it the same for you?
It's the same for me in a sense of like
You should
like
be relieved.
running, especially running like long distances. Like it's not comfortable, but like over time you become comfortable with being uncomfortable, and then when you stop, that tolerance that you had for being uncomfortable goes down. And so even though your fitness hasn't like gone away, just like you feel it a lot more than you otherwise would, and that was a little annoying.
But see, the problem is that I have never been a person who will keep doing things that I'm uncomfortable with, or like that I don't want to do or like doing. So I do some of those things that I'm not like specifically enjoying. Like, you know, if you have any kind of job, you might love your job, but there might be some kind of parts of your job that you don't like doing, or, you know, that's a bit different. But like if there's like a huge thing that let's say I really fucking hate eating pineapple and I just don't like it, so I'm just not gonna eat it. But if you don't like, you know, if you keep running, but then it's still like uncomfortable, you're in pain because you're running long distances, it's not easy, and like, you know, what all the things that you just said, then I would just not do it. I would just do something that doesn't make me feel that way.
But like being uncomfortable is like it's just like a short moment, and then at the end the feeling of like achievement overshadows that.
A short moment, so
like
3.5 hours of running. That's a short moment.
I mean, that's a marathon. Marathon is tough, but then again, by the end of it, it's like I did a marathon, and that means a lot more than the bits that I was comfortable in. It's like, you know, pain is temporary, but the memories and the things and the sense of achievement you get, that stays with you forever.
No, I do agree with that also. I mean, even like, you know, when we did the Norway trek, and we did not get ready for it at all. Like we just I mean, you were, because at the time I didn't do any workouts. We did like kind of hike a lot, but mostly because we're in London, so we kind of hike a lot around, you know, England here, and there's no fucking mountains here. So, and then we did the trek in Norway, and obviously you were much fitter than me anyway, because and we do quite a lot of treks and like in mountains, like in Bali and all that. And you've always been like so much fitter because you normally, you know, you work out weekly all the time. I just started like 6 months ago. I finally got my act together. But I remember I was just doing it, and it was like I really wanted to do it because I love the views, I love the nature. You know, I just wanted to, I just wanted to do it. Honestly, to be fair, honestly, I have to say, it wasn't really as hard as I thought it was gonna be. And we were the Chonga one, because people were telling us if you're not fit, it takes you around 6 to 10 hours to do it, back there and back. We did it with like 4 hours or 4.5, and we actually, this is counting in when we went up, the bus kind of took us, you know, on the base, whereas most people, when they start, they go all the way like up to a certain point, because there's like a car park there that you can kind of park in. Again, we didn't have a car, so we were in the base, so there was so many cars like passing us by, and the road wasn't like just straight up, it was like a winding road. And it took us 40 minutes just to do that. When we were coming back down though, there was this group of people who actually saw us when we were going up, but didn't want to stop, because they thought like, oh, some people get offended when you know, when you offer to give them a lift, because they want to do that like part themselves, which I do understand, but you know, they could have asked.
They said that we saw you going up, but we didn't say anything because we felt like it's part of your experience. Right. Then on the way back, Ufani decided to ask. He was like, I could have used a little bit more rest going up, actually. I was like, should have stopped me.
Yeah.
Swear.
But yeah, then we were like, I mean, maybe did like a quarter of the way down, and then they came, and then they kind of gave us a lift down. So, and that actually was helpful because by the time we were quite tired and we had to like catch the bus. If we would have walked, we would not have made the bus. So that was really, really nice of them, and you know. But I am glad that we actually did walk this all the way, because then next time we go, I'm like, oh, well, we walked this and you take a car.
Yeah.
But so anyway, my point was that, you know, I think like, I guess in a way you could say that maybe like I'm not fit in the way that I work out every single week, but then I feel like I was fit enough to do what normally people would do in 6 to 10 hours in 4.5, and I think that's pretty fast. And then I thought when we got to our accommodation, I thought next day is going to be hell for me because my knees were hurting quite a lot when we got there. But then it was fine actually. We were like going on another hike next day.
Yeah.
Not like a
hike,
but just like a long walk. Let's just put it that way. So not like trekking, but like just like walking.
Yeah.
But yeah,
that was good. Yeah, but like in that sense, for me, like the feeling you had on top of like on the tongue or whatever.
Oh yeah, when you were scared as
not, which is not for me, but like that feeling was worth
when
the climb sort of thing. But for me, it's like the feeling of like exercising and being uncomfortable is worth at the end when I get the endorphins and I notice an improvement.
Okay.
And that means a lot more to me than the struggle.
Okay, I mean, I totally see that. Like, I guess running is just not for me. Neither is heat exercises or doing weights, which I do. I just don't enjoy it. I do feel like when I've finished my workout, like I did kickboxing today, which I actually do enjoy, but when I do like weights or something, or any kind of workout, what I feel like it's not that like endorphins or whatever. I just feel like, oh, I got through, like I forced myself to do it.
It's like when you take medicine, you know, you just close your eyes and they don't like really bad taste.
Oh yeah,
medicine.
you know, like when we were little, when you had those cough medicines that there were no syrups back then that taste like sugar. That was not the case. Like they all tasted like I don't know, like a horse's ass.
Like a horse's
It was disgusting. And you just had to do it. And I remember, like, you know, when you took like medicine when you were a kid, and then it was like the really bad tasting one, and then what I tried to do is like I tried to kind of like, when I put it in my mouth, I tried to put it like at the back of my throat so I don't have to taste it.
For me, that was the worst part. The worst part was the back, because it's at the back of the throat. You can't just like clean it off with your tongue, or you just like it's back there, so the taste just remains. But it was so bad.
Yeah, but then I also water it down. Like I had like some water or some juice or something, and I was like drinking it so much, like I just didn't want to put it on my tongue. Oh, and then what I did was like I had a spoon, and then like this is my mouth. I had a spoon and I put the spoon.
Shove it down your throat.
I put it in my mouth and then I turned it really quickly because I didn't want it to touch anything. Turned it and then I had like a drink. And sometimes it worked. Sometimes it just made things worse because
when it doesn't work.
Oh, it's so worse. Yet I risked it every single time.
That's funny.
And I remember like when you know, like when you take kind of like pills and then they have this sugar coating on them. This is why you're not supposed to, you know, crack your pills, because then it's not nice tasting inside. But then you know, when we were a kid, I don't know if your parents ever did that, was that they crushed the medicine.
Yeah, it was so bad. I honestly feel that was cruel.
It was so bad.
It's so bad. like a watered down, like, cause I grew up in Africa, so like a lot of the time we took I would get like malaria, and the treatment for malaria is like chloroquine.
Right.
And it's a small pill, and it's the most foul tasting thing you've ever.
Even if you don't crush it.
It's disgusting. And like, literally, I used to gag every single time.
Oh my God.
It's so small. It's tiny. I used to.
So even if you don't break it didn't have like a sugar coating or anything.
It had no sugar coating, and if you break it, it's worse. it's actually worse. So whenever whenever they used to break it, it's literally like torture. It's like, why are you doing this to me? It's so small, I could just like, chuck it down my throat.
Oh, have you tried? Oh my god, I've actually tried with pills that back in the day, some pills didn't have the sugar coating, like the malaria one for you. And then when I get on in this,
Just drop it down.
I just drop it down right away. And sometimes it got stuck, so I was like, and then I had to like quickly like get the water. But I didn't taste anything, so totally worth it.
I used to be so bad that, which is pretty dangerous now. Think about it, because I used to get malaria all the time. So like sometimes they would give me the medicine. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna take it. And then I go to the front of the garden. It's on these high walls, and I just chucked it.
Oh my God.
I'm alive, so.
This is why you need to explain to kids why they have to take those pills.
I didn't know how dangerous malaria. I was just a kid, so like. I
You
just
just thought,
all the
it's
time,
nothing.
so like.
Yeah, because kids' priorities are like, I don't want to taste this.
It was disgusting. It was like I used to chuck it over the wall.
Oh my god, yeah. I don't know why they used to break. Well, I know why they used to break the medicine is because some kids they can't swallow it whole, or if the medicine is really big, it can be dangerous for a kid to try to swallow it. So I get it. But then what my mom used to do is she used to crush it. She put it on a spoon and then she put some water there so it goes down better.
It's so much worse.
because otherwise, all that like little pieces of medicine, they just get stuck in your mouth and your throat, and it's even worse. So the water did help, but the taste, oh my god, it went in the water as well. So it was the whole of it.
Like that, like the way you mention it, it's literally just triggering me. It was just like, so disgusting. I used to like.
Is that what they used to do for you as well?
Yeah, because I used.
So funny.
I don't know why they thought it would be better, because I already don't like the pill. It already tastes like the most bitter thing you ever put in your mouth.
They thought that would help.
They thought it would help, and they used to like they used to like trying to like hide in bananas and stuff.
Like for dogs.
Literally, because I used to like.
Because for Piper
I used to
we hide
throw
pills.
up. Like that's how much I didn't like it. I used to throw up. I was just like, it won't. It's the tiniest pill in the world, but it will not go down. Anyway, so today I wanted to talk about something that, in a way, has been sort of like with me most of my life, especially as a young. Am I still young? As a young man, and now as an adult man, as
Am I still young?
yeah, 32 is young, right?
It's very young.
So I saw this video on YouTube talking about
Piper's hair.
Okay. I saw this video on YouTube talking about masculinity and the pressures that men, especially from a young age, feel in terms of like what it is to be a man, how a man acts, what the characteristics of a man and stuff like that. And it really hit home because for a long time I used to struggle with that, and it used to make me really unhappy in terms of being in my own skin, because I didn't feel like I fit the characteristics of what a man is. And so a lot of times it could be very simple, small things, like even the way you sit. Like I would sit, like for example, I'll cross my legs, for example, and then I'll just catch myself. I'm like, no, that doesn't look right, and I'll readjust. I'm going to like a proper like man spreading situation, and it was so crazy that like this person was talking about, and this person was like an athlete, fits that characteristics of like what a man looks like, big, strong, looks like he can take care of himself. He was successful in terms of like he competed in the Olympics and stuff like that. So like I felt like if anyone wouldn't have those insecurities, it would be him. But he was struggling. He struggled with those insecurities to the point where he had some suicidal thoughts and stuff like that. And I remember how just shitty I used to feel about not feeling like I was man enough, and I guess I wanted to talk about it from my perspective, and also I guess see on your perspective, like whenever you hear someone talking about masculinity and being a man, how actually women sort of what's their reaction to it, because a lot of the time, like I hate to say it, but it's always about being a man and being seen as a masculine man. It's always to impress the opposite sex.
But it's also the other way around, isn't it? That women are like can't do certain things or sit a certain way, or always have your legs crossed and don't sit like this, which I love doing, and I do that all the time. Or be feminine and cover up, don't cover up. Like there's so many things that like women are supposed to do, not supposed to do, and like I feel it's quite the same, isn't it? Like men are like men don't cry, and like women are always emotional, and like there's so many things that like I feel like are not true anymore as much as they used to be back in the 90s when we were like younger.
Yeah.
Now it's the world is changing a lot, so I think the way we see how men are or how women are is different. I feel like you just are who you are.
I feel like it was that way for a while. Like there was a lot more less pressures on men feeling, but I feel like that's sort of coming back again in terms of like those same pressures are coming back again in terms of like a lot of because you know how like whenever I go into like YouTube spiral, I watch a lot of different videos around politics and like and stuff like that, and a lot of talks in politics right now, especially when it comes to around men, is things like before there was a lot more acceptance around maybe a man not being the breadwinner of the house, because now women are into the workforce, they can make more money. You can even make more money than your spouse, but I feel like at the moment that's sort of changing back again, where there's a lot more stigma attached to men, for example, who choose to stay at home and look after the kids as well as their wife.
Not when it comes to women. Like I think if a man stays home, watch the children, that's fucking awesome, because usually it's women who have to do that and give up their career. So if a man does it, I think it's nice.
Like for example, like the show that we watch on Netflix about finance. What's it called? How to live your rich life.
Yes. Yeah.
There was that couple where the woman
was working and the guy was staying home with kids.
And it seemed like he would have it seemed like he was okay with it from the outside, but when he actually sort of started to peel the layers and started to talk about it, he felt very undervalued, very unappreciated, and actually didn't feel like a man.
But I think why I think it was is because I feel like this is how women feel when they stay home, because there's not communication, and I feel like she kind of treated him the same way like a lot of men treat their wives or women who stay home with kids, is that he didn't have any source of income, and because she was the only one working, and let's just clarify that she earned a lot of money. It was like 120K per year or something, right?
I think it was like 130,000.
Okay, so she it's not like she only earned like 50K or something, and then they didn't have money. They had quite a lot of money. She earned really well, but he didn't have any income because he was home with the kids. And so what the guy, the financial guru, I can't remember his name, what financial guru was saying was that because she's the only one working, he should kind of get like paid for it. So whatever money she has left over, they should pay themselves, like give themselves like an allowance of like £1,000 per month per person, and then they can do whatever they want with it. And so this is what they started doing. But I do think like it's a lot, in a lot of families this kind of happens because I guess initially you would get like a maternity leave pay. I mean, it's not like, at least in this country, it's not 100% of your salary. It's only 100% for a couple of weeks, and then it goes down to like 80 or 70, and then it's like 50%, and then you can stay home for a bit longer but with no pay. So, you know, at some point you kind of lose that. If you want to stay home longer with your kids, then you're just gonna have to like quit your job and just stay home and not have an income. So I do think like it's kind of also viewed negatively when women don't stay home with their kids, and very often by other women, because it feels like, oh, you're not staying home with your kids and it's your husband doing the work. Or like, a lot of women are probably surprised, like, oh my god, like you have a husband who stays home. But a lot of women kind of judge each other, saying, oh well, you know, I can do this, and like, you stay home with my kids and like do all that stuff, and then, you know, still be able to take care of like.
I mean, like the reason why I want to talk about specifically the pressures on, you know, men and especially on masculinity is that, like, for example, for women, the same pressures that you mentioned don't equal into, like, for example, the statistics, like, in terms of, it doesn't come out as high in statistics in terms of how, for example, for men there's a lot higher suicide rates for men, and a lot of those suicide rates, when you look into it, and it's a lot of it are on pressures about masculinity and not feeling like you're a man, and that might, you know, come across, you know, if you don't fit the stereotypes because, you know, your sexuality, maybe you're gay and you're attracted to other people with the same sex as you don't fit that sexual the stereotype, you don't feel accepted, you feel a lot of the pressures, but they can't conform to, then you commit suicide. But also on the other side of it, even if you're straight, you feel like you don't look like what a man is, and you don't have the job of a man, and those kind of pressures that and that kind of pressure sort of weighs down on you so much that you feel like the best way to do it is to end your life, to deal with it. So it's to take off the pressures to end your life. I feel like especially now with, like, sort of definitely having the economy and stuff like that, I feel like I guess I'm struggling to understand, like, why is it for men that they're unable, we are unable to sort of deal with those stereotypes and those pressures on us to be men, to a point where, you know, there's such a high suicide rate in men. However, like, for women with those same pressures, there isn't as much suicidality, I guess is the word. Is it because women are just able to deal with, like, those social stereotypes, and men are just unable to deal with that?
I think maybe part of it is also because most women are naturally more communicative, so they have the group of friends that they kind of discuss things with, and they don't feel ashamed about discussing things. Well, maybe they do, like, initially, but at the end of the day they will still do it. Whereas men, if they kind of would talk about all these issues they're going through, it's probably seen as like another weakness and to do with, like, masculinity, and a lot of times that, oh my god, like, oh, what, you know, why are you telling me this? So, like, it's kind of like, well, suck it up and deal with it kind of situation, I feel.
Yeah, it was just strange because I grew up in a household with women, but I'm still the same way with emotions. I don't really like showing much. I don't feel like I have my emotions. And what's the saying? Wearing your emotions in your sleeves or something.
It's wearing your heart in your sleeve.
It's just the same thing. Like, I don't feel like I'm like that. Like, I don't feel.
You do show emotion. You definitely.
Often? Really? Like.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, I definitely, when you're happy, you show it. When you're upset, I mean, you do show it. Maybe, I don't know, maybe you think you're trying to hide it, but I can tell because I know you.
Yeah, but like, I guess it's different from like, because you live with me and you're able to tell if I'm off. But like, a lot of the people who, you know, have known me for a long time, a lot of the time they say, "Oh, we've never seen Claude angry," but like, there's no way you've known me for more than 10 years and haven't been angry once.
Yeah, I feel like I've definitely seen you angry, but I think you do try to control your anger and not let it out, and sometimes it does come out. But I also feel like as a person, you don't really get like angry often. Like not a lot of things upset you that much because you're very like laid back as a person. Like you're more like a, I'll see what happens kind of type. Like you don't really care. I mean, not that you don't care, but it's just like about small things. I mean, whereas like a lot of people just take everything very personally, think that everything is like, things happen like towards them, like they just take everything in. Whereas I think you're more of like a kind of more casual, and then maybe that kind of helps as well, not to kind of be angry all the time. But I definitely think you show emotion for sure. Like,
there you go. I mean, I didn't think I did.
Are you trying not to?
No, I don't feel like, especially when it comes to anger and stuff like that. Like, I don't. What I usually say to people is that the moment especially if someone's trying to get you to be angry, the moment you show your anger, that's the moment you lose all power in that dynamic.
Yeah.
And so whenever someone's trying to get to me, I try not to show any anger.
But does it actually
keep control?
Does it actually make you angry though?
I mean,
Do you
I
feel
feel like I've been in situations where I've been very angry, but like I've sort of not expressed myself in anger because I wanted to remain in control. Because if I'm calm, I'm in control. I like to think that pisses you off even more. That I'm not angry, and then I regain control over that situation.
Or maybe, is it more? Well, I guess right now you're kind of trying to be the one who's in control of the situation, whereas I kind of see it in a way that if you just don't get angry at someone who's trying to make you angry for some reason, is that you just kind of keep that peace and
Oh yeah,
just
no, 100%. But like,
react to everything that don't need a reaction.
But like, I'm sure if someone knows how to press your buttons to get you angry.
Oh yeah, I bet I could get you angry.
Oh yeah, 100%. But if someone's trying to press your buttons to get you angry, like it's gonna be very hard for you to be like, okay, I'm not gonna try and be angry. Like especially people who can get you angry is people who know you, right? So people who know the stuff that will piss you off.
The buttons to push.
The buttons to push. Yeah. And so for you to, but there's also certain things about even a stranger can do or say and they'll push your buttons or they will get you there. And for me, it's always been about like, I need to remain in control to piss you off even more, because you see me being all calm, like calm down, that sort of thing. But even if underneath all that, I'm just like, I want to punch you in the face so hard right now. So maybe because I grew up in a household for women, I'm slightly more emotional.
I feel like I'm not emotional as much.
As much?
People have this. I mean, yes, I do get emotional, but I'm not saying like some women can be very emotional, and it's just perceived that all women are emotional all the time, where I don't think I am.
Well, I think that's just a stupid stereotype. Yeah. Like everyone can be emotional all the time,
and it's healthy to be emotional.
But
sometimes.
But remember when we were at someone's birthday, and they asked the question about when's the last time you cried, and obviously we knew that last time each of us cried.
Yeah.
But before that, I couldn't pinpoint. Like I feel like it had been years and years before I cried. And then so I went through at the table, and these people thought, oh, I cried yesterday. Oh, I cried once a week, and I'm like,
someone said they cry once a day.
I was like, what?
That is true. I could not. I can't do. I don't have tears.
You know what I mean? I was like,
I feel like my life is not that up and down or like that down all the time that I need a good cry every day just to deal with it.
I mean, I can get maybe if you're like constantly in pain. Life is a struggle, maybe. That's different. But like some. I mean, I didn't know everyone on that table really really well. But for like some people, I thought like, especially, I just felt like how could you possibly be in a situation where for me to cry it takes a lot, and a lot of the time for me to cry, it won't be anything that's happening to me, but it'd be something that's happening to someone else that I care about that would get me there. Like I remember, for example, when I was at my dad's funeral. I couldn't even drag a tear. I couldn't cry at all. And then when my granddad passed away when I was a little bit older as well, I couldn't cry at all. So like, when it's happening to me, I just like, I can't find a way. No, I can't cry at all.
I didn't cry in my granddad's funeral either. I feel like, I honestly don't really cry that much. I do cry sometimes, but I think it's more of a like when something really big happens, or when like all those small things get like coming. But for the small things, that takes like a year at least, man, before tears come. Like, and I think when we were in that birthday, someone also was asking like, they actually cry watching movies and TV series, and this is not something we do either. Actually, I've seen you cry watching a movie. I cannot remember which movie. It was a while ago. It was when we were.
Listen, if it's Toy Story, I'm allowed.
Oh my god.
It's so sad.
No, we never watched Toy Story together, so I don't know. But you've definitely you haven't
I think
like
there's moments in movies.
You haven't like cried like crocodile tears, but like I could see like. You know, I've seen like a tear coming. You know, you clearly like
fully come down.
Yeah. Yes, no. I have.
Maybe my eyes get watery.
No, but it actually like came out. But my eyes don't even get watery. Does that make me like a psychopath or something? Or so
I don't know. Like if I see something sad, I might feel a bit emotional.
I don't. I see in my head. I'm like, it's just a movie. It's not real.
Yeah, okay, never mind. Okay. So anyway. Okay. So like, what does like masculinity mean to you as a woman?
I don't think. I also don't really think that I'm the right person to ask, to be honest, because I'm quite. I don't think I'm the right person to ask, because for me, I don't really think of it that way. Like I'm not really like, oh my god, Claude is so masculine, I love him, like you know what I mean? Like I just or like, oh, this guy is so masculine, like I've never actually thought of it, not once. Like for me, it's just like I want someone to have a good personality. They're kind, they can deal with my shit.
What are the stereotypes of masculinity do you like know of?
Well, I guess it's all the basic ones, isn't it? A man has to earn a living to take care of their like a wife or a family or whatever. Men don't cry, although men do cry. Like I don't know where this came from. Everybody cries, or maybe not in public, but they probably do, like quietly in the bathroom when they're in the shower. So you can't see.
Every day when
this is
all
why
men across the world in the shower, just like.
This is why it takes them so long in the toilet, because they're not doing it; they just crying.
That's why we were just crying in the bathroom, guys. Yeah, that's what we're doing, crying, thinking about life.
Yeah. So also, I guess men have to be strong, like physically strong. I guess mentally as well, I suppose.
Yeah.
Men don't show emotion. That's kind of like, I hear it sometimes, some women are like, oh, he's so emotional. Or like, I mean, he's a human. It's normal. Like, I feel like I don't agree with any of those, and I don't really,
I guess it's crazy because, sorry to interrupt. I guess it's crazy because like I always felt like I didn't care about this stuff, but then to be like sat down in like a feminine way and I catch myself, I'm like, whoa.
So you do care.
So I do care about it, but like it's so crazy because I feel like I shouldn't care about it, and I feel like I live my life that I don't care about like how I'm perceived or as whether I'm masculine or not, but like it's like it still seeps into like somehow just seeps into your psyche that you can't help it but to like portray masculinity all the time, and yeah, it's really annoying.
I had another one. I maybe I already said that one. That men like you have to like the protectors or like.
Oh yeah, like.
So that's why you have to be physically strong, right? Otherwise, how are you gonna protect me?
Exactly.
If a bear comes,
no,
what do you do?
but I'm surprised I haven't been in any fights yet. I was just like, you're gonna piss someone off one day. I'm just gonna have to like.
I feel like I piss people off all the time, but they see me. They're like, oh, I don't want to fight her.
Yeah.
I don't think they even look at you.
To be fair.
I mean, you're not a power lifter. You're a runner.
I don't look like. You know what?
You do look like.
Wow. Listen.
There you go.
Like I don't.
Masculinity.
I don't look like Mo Farah.
But you're strong though. You don't
so.
like if you would walk on the street, right? I can tell that you work out, but I can't tell how strong you are.
No, I remember one of the most masculine moment in my life where I felt like, I remember I was
you
like,
opened a pickle jar for me.
No, I remember I was walking down the street a long time ago. Actually, I was a teenager. A long time ago, walking down the street. And then like this group of kids were running towards me, and like I think they thought of someone else, and they were basically trying to beat me up.
Right.
Like at worst, probably trying to kill me. Maybe I don't know. They had to fight with someone that looked at me, and they got close to me, and they were like, "Oh, this guy looks like he can handle himself," and they just walked away. Oh my god, man! I was walking around like I could have had the biggest dick ever. I was like, yeah. I was looking in the mirror like, oh hell yeah! Like that made me feel like I was a man. I was like, the fuck me? It was so weird that how like I want like a split second I was super scared and then I was super confident, just because like I had this like sort of validation from someone who's trying to hurt me.
Yeah.
I was like, oh that guy looks strong. I was like, yeah.
But yeah, that's funny. I also I wanted to kind of say is that when you ask me about, I think why I'm not really the right person to talk about stereotypes is because the stereotypes that I kind of mentioned before is what I found out later in life, because I feel like I grew up with my mom, and I had like two brothers, so I don't think, at least I don't remember having like an understanding of stereotypes like in our family. Like we never said that, oh, a man has to be like this or a woman has to do this. Like we were allowed to do whatever, to be whoever we wanted. Like I was a girl who was sometimes playing with dolls, but also I climbed trees and like spend a lot of time like in nature, running around with other like boys my age, and like, cause kind of had like a group of friends that we kind of hang out with. My brother, one of my brothers was like, when he was little, he was like making jewelry, and like something that usually a girl would be doing, right? Like, or at least would be like, oh, this is a girly thing to do. Or I do remember that like my grandparents were probably like, oh, why is he doing jewelry? Like this, that's not a boy's thing to do. But then my mom was like, let him be who he is, let him do what he wants. He's just a little boy. And then also I was doing, but then at the same time he was doing like woodwork with our granddad. I was doing woodwork. So it was kind of always like, you just are who you are. And I do understand that it's not present in a lot of families, that it's already put in you since you were a kid that, oh, men don't cry and don't do this, and sometimes people said, oh, you're a boy, don't cry, boys don't cry, whereas like I know parents, like some of my friends who are parents, and like I remember in our family, if you cried, you just let it out. It wasn't, nobody told you like, oh, stop crying because you're a boy, or you're a girl, don't do that or do this. So we've never had any of that. We also, no one told us how to sit, how not to sit, just because of our gender. So I think like my childhood definitely probably helped with it, and I didn't really know about those stereotypes until I was older. Maybe like I heard someone say something like in school, or in the future, like in the workplace or whatever, or like when internet obviously came, then.
I feel like for me as well, probably one of the reasons why I feel like I was affected by the stereotypes of masculinity is one, like within my household, being the only male, I was always told I was the man of the house, and what the man of the house meant was someone who looks after the house, and like you were like the security guard. You are the guy who lifts the heavy stuff,
kills the bugs.
Exactly, and like from a young age, that's what you're sort of. I was sort of being told that that's who I was, and then when all the movies back in the 90s and the early 2000s, so like who were like my biggest idols, like Arnold Schwarzenegger, Sylvester Stallone, Jean-Claude Van Damme.
I actually don't like any of them. Like I don't find them. Yeah, it's just.
But like there were this big like superhero, like every single action hero, with like I guess with the exception of like Jackie Chan, they're all like really massive, pumped up huge, and like huge guys, and like that's who you want to be. Like when you look in the mirror, like I wish I could fight like Jackie Chan, but also I wish I looked like Arnold Schwarzenegger. You know what I mean? And when I went to the gym before, like I figured out like I enjoyed running and I enjoyed pushing myself in terms of like business running and stuff like that. Even when I was playing football, it was all, the gym was always about to look a certain way, not to perform a certain way, but to look a certain way, just to be big and stuff like that. And when I go to the gym now, like when I was going to the gym, especially to lift weights, was like I need to perform, so this is what I need to do. But sometimes
you do need to
perform. but sometimes but sometimes, like even if I'm like shooting down my 80 kg and my little 80 kg doing my squats, and I look to the side and you see this like massive guy like squatting 100, 200, I'm just looking across and like I could add a few more plates on, and it's like, and like again, I don't think in my everyday life I even think about like, oh, I need to look masculine, but in certain situations there's so much pressure to be that guy that you can't help yourself but like compare yourself to people around you, and yeah, like if I keep adding the face, I'm probably gonna break something, but like I still want to look like yeah, you know what I mean, like. And every single time when I'm training like a young person, and they were like, oh, I don't want to run too much because I'm gonna be skinny, and I'm like, and I'm always sounding like it's not about how you look, like you're starting to run, especially, and you're training for this run, whatever. Everything we're doing is about performance and output, and you're doing this in order to be able to reach your goal then. And that's my advice to everyone. And that's how I believe, and I believe 100%. But
then
I'm in
you
a gym doing bench press and I'm looking
conscious.
across. I'm like, yeah.
And you still do it.
Yeah, you know what I mean? I
This
just
is
can't
why
help it.
This is why people say it's easier said than done, because you also have to constantly, you have to change your own mindset, but constantly, like, I think it's probably helps not to care what people think.
But I also think it's like definitely like in the media.
Oh yeah, that doesn't help. Social media, news, everything.
Everything, like movies, everything. Like, I love the Avengers, but like every single male Avenger is like 6'5", big shoulders, big arms, everything.
But also,
all the
I
time.
mean, it's the same with like women Avengers as well. They're all really extremely fit.
Yeah,
all the time. But they're also very strong, which is not usually what is perceived about, like, women are so, not that strong and they can get hurt very easily. It's like we're some kind of leaves in the wind or something.
Leaves in the wind. No, yeah, no, I agree with that, but I feel like, especially recently, there's it's like, especially like in the modeling world and stuff like that, there's been acceptance of, like, not all women look
zero size.
Look a certain way. There's a different spectrum to how, like, a woman can look like and still be beautiful and still be good to look at, whatever. But like, if you look at the same thing in male modeling, all male models look the same: 6-pack, big chest, big shoulders. They don't have that, like, plus size male model who is as big as the other male models.
I feel like I've seen plus size male models on, like, magazine covers and stuff.
But they're not going to be as famous as, like, a plus size female model. That's how I feel like. It doesn't feel like that they're as, that image of a man is as accepted as I mean for me, like, I never enjoyed looking at size 0 models anyway, because I was so like, why would you want to look like that? Doesn't seem, for me.
They can look however they want to.
I know they can look at it. For me, like, that
your personal choice.
It was my personal choice, but obviously, like, after, like, for me, I always said, like, after J-Lo and Beyonce, then
you like that big booty.
Everything changed in terms of, like, because in the early 2000s here, it was all about, Kate Moss was like, oh, like, that's
like
that
chopstick.
like, that's a vision of female beauty.
Yeah.
And then after, like, the J-Los and the Beyonces came out, then that completely changed and warped to something else. And now, like, someone with curves is what a vision of female beauty is, and that's accepted. But there's not that same acceptance for men, I feel.
I mean, I definitely felt like when I was younger, and I've always been, like, kind of, bigger booty than normal. Even when I was younger, I was actually fit, but I still, when the booty is there, the booty is there. Okay.
When the booty is there, the booty is there. You can't hide the booty.
Yeah, and that wasn't, like, what people found attractive, or, like, I never felt like this was people's first choice. So, do you know what I mean? But then, like you said, when the J-Lo came, like, Jenny from the Block came out, it was like, ooh, okay, like, boys and men started, like, changing their minds. But I do, I guess I do have to agree about, like, men. I mean, I buy my clothes from both men's and women's section, and I just don't give a flying fuck what people think. If I like something, I wear it. I don't care. So I do kind of see sometimes, men modeling, and I do have to say, I've seen a lot more, like, plus size models than I have, plus size female models than I have plus size male models. But I do, but then again, I'm not saying that there's none plus size male models. There are.
I know there are.
But I guess, like you said, maybe female models are more popular, because I think, although as a woman, I think maybe it's to do with you're a man and I'm a woman, and that's why how we feel. But for me, as a woman, I feel like it's always been more accepted for a man to look like however they want. You know, if they have like a beer belly or whatever, that's just, you know, it's just a working man, you know, like that's normal, like just deal with it. Whereas if a woman, you know, looks bigger than a size 0, it's always been like, oh, why, you know, why are you fat, why are you not taking care of your body, like how will men want you, how are you gonna get married, da 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 da, all these issues. And like if you don't bounce back after having children like 2 weeks later, then you know, oh my god, like what is happening, like you know, you just falling off the wagon and whatnot. Because as like a younger woman, and like when I was like a teenager, that's how I felt, like it was okay for boys to look however, and then, you know, women always had to be extremely skinny and like have a booty, not have a booty, like have boobs, not have boobs, like it's just like, what do you want from us? So I do feel like it's generally been more accepted that men can, you know, just have whatever bodies they have, because, you know, it's always been like, oh, because men work and they're like busy, and it's like, okay, but you know, if a woman stays home, then, you know, you have time to like work out and take care of your body and do all those things. But obviously you feel differently, and I think it's because, you know, you're actually, you know, lived.
I'm a man living in a man world.
Yeah, in a man's body.
Yeah.
And I'm a woman living in a woman's body, so I'm kind
So that's really interesting. Like it's really interesting that like I guess like you feel the same pressures. I mean, okay, for us I don't think we feel those pressures, but in terms of like in society, there are those same pressures, similar pressures,
yeah,
for men and women. However, I guess maybe men need to learn how women deal with those pressures, and you know, constructively, and be able to sort of break down how they feel about masculinity and how it is to be a man, and then maybe understand that they don't need to fit every single aspect of that.
Like nobody's perfect.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, like I feel like, and like I said, I'm probably not the right person to ask, because I didn't grew up with all those understandings of what a man should be like. I just like, you know, I was who I was, my brothers were who they were, I liked who I liked, and mostly it came down to like, you know, their personality rather than how they looked from the outside, or how they acted all masculine, or like, you know. So I'm probably not the right person to ask. But for me personally, how I just don't care what other people think. Like if, you know, if I like somebody, or if I like something for myself, and if people are like, oh, this is too masculine, or I don't know, if you would wear something that people would say, oh, it's so feminine, like why is Claude wearing it? And I'm like, fuck off. Like I don't care. Like if you like wearing it, do whatever you want to do. Like if you want to cry every day, maybe not every day. But if you do, and if it makes you feel good, just do it. Like I genuinely I just couldn't care less. Like as long as you keep the house clean.
Yeah.
That's all I care about.
As long as you keep the house clean. It's another typical male stereotype: clean the house. I'm joking. I mean, yeah.
Oh, the stereotype is that men don't clean house.
Yeah.
I have a video proving that this guy cleans the house, and honestly, in our relationship, actually, you hoover the house a lot more than I do. Like in recent years, it used to be more me, but now it's kind of just gradually kind of changed over, and you just do it.
Because the hoover is such a masculine tool to use, you know.
Yeah, and you know, like in the movie, you know, in the movies, you wear the apron, you know, like the women back in the 70s.
Okay, that's not true. I don't do that.
Sure.
I don't do that. I do it topless with a beer, watching football.
You don't drink.
Or at the same time, I drink beer sometimes.
He like cider.
Well, okay. Yeah, I like
And
cider.
cocktails, actually.
Cocktails, yeah.
See, you're trying to be
Apple
masculine
tea.
now. With a drink with an umbrella in it.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess that's the end.
I think when men and women are raising children, just don't raise them this way. Like, try to tell them they can be who they want. Don't tell them, oh, stop crying because you're a boys don't cry, or like, oh, you know, boys have to be strong, or like, just stop saying things like that, because this kind of, I feel like that stays with kids. And I think because I didn't grow up that way, my mindset is definitely a lot different about all those things. Like, when, you know, when I, you know, look at men or women, I don't just like assume that, oh, women all have to be feminine or men all have to be really strong and all this and this. And I think it comes from how I grew up, whereas like I've had friends who grew up where they were like, oh, you know, women can't sit this way or that way, and then that also stayed with them. So I think it all starts when you're a kid, and also from school as well, like what your teachers say, how your teachers comment on like your actions, and I think it just starts in the childhood. So if we could all just let our kids be who they want to be, then you know,
more
the world
importantly,
would be a more accepting place.
more importantly, just I guess do what feels right to you.
Just do what you want to do, unless it's killing people, then probably don't do it. But
do what feels right to you, and you know, if you're happy, then fuck everybody else.
yeah, I agree. Do
Essentially.
whatever you want, and don't care what people think. I know it's easier said than done, but really just don't care. You only live one life, like, just enjoy it.
Exactly.
That was good.
There you go. End of it. That was my nose.
Yeah, because I went for your head.
Off my cheek. Oh, off my head, okay. Okay.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.